let it fall. My heart, does it feel you rose to claim it? It was dark and I was over until you kissed my lips and you saved me. My hands, they're strong, but my knees were far too weak to stand in your arms without falling to your feet. But there's a side to you that I never knew. All the things you say, they were never true, never true. In the games you play, you would always win, always win. But I set fire to the rain, watched it pour as I touched your face. When it burned, well I cried 'cause I heard it screaming out your name, your name. With you.
A few years ago, I found that small punctures in a hypermature cataract do not run out. Multiple small punctures can be joined together to make a small central 3 mm can opener capsulotomy. The trick is to make the punctures join one another and not to form a large flap.
Watched it pour as I touched your face.
As the liquid cortex tends to ooze out in obscure visualization, we should go in with a cannula containing methyl cellulose, deepen the anterior chamber, and while deepening it, we should apply pressure on the posterior lip so that part of the liquefied cortex comes out of the capsular bag and comes out of the eye. Then go in with an Utratas forceps, hold one of the torn edges and convert that into a circular rhexis. As you can see here, the distal half of the capsular rhexis has been completed. I am again emptying the anterior chamber of liquid cortex as well as applying pressure to deepen the anterior chamber. Now I am trying to initiate a new rhexis and see how strong this capsular rhexis is. In spite of multiple tugs on the right hand side, I am not able to extend or initiate a tear from those tags. So these tags are actually quite strong. Please try it out and you will see the truth of the matter. I catch one end with the Utratas forceps. And I complete the second stage of the capsular rhexis. Now we have a large, although irregular, opening into this anterior capsule, and we can do an adequate phacoemulsification through this enlarged opening. A hypermature cataract does not need hydrodissection. The liquid cortex tends to coalesce together and do a autohydrodissection, and nuclear rotation is not difficult in this situation. I am debulking the anterior layers of the cataract and I am turning the nucleus round. At this point, the intralenticular pressure is adequately lowered and we can do our regular peripheral chop technique and remove this cataract. So this part of the surgery is quite straightforward. There are no surprises here. So after removing the cataract and doing the irrigation aspiration, I insert the intraocular lens into the eye. Please note the two sentinel air bubbles which are locked in position by the methylcellulose which has been placed against the dome of this particular cornea. As long as the two air bubbles do not move around, we are certain that the turbulence in the anterior chamber is not harming the endothelial cells. When the large sentinel air bubbles move, we have to keep an eye out for the smaller sentinel air bubbles. When the smaller sentinel air bubbles start moving, it is time to replace methylcellulose to continue adequate corneal protection. So I am implanting a 3-piece intraocular lens which I am now dialing into the eye, and we can see that there is an irregular anterior capsulotomy, and we can make it more regular by enlarging it further. So I'm using a two-hand technique. I'm going in with a forceps. I'm initiating the tear with a sharp needle. As you can see, it takes quite a lot of force to start a tear in this capsule. So the inferior part of the capsule rexus is completed. There is a flap on the superior part. So I am making another tear and I am completing the capsule rexus. After the surgery is completed, I am doing a modified Wong's technique by injecting air with a 30 gauge needle into the anterior corneal leaflet because my seal is inadequate. So this will swell up the anterior cornea and prevents leak. About 5% of my patients need this kind of a modified Wong hydration.
I heard that you're settled down, that you
Here we have a second cataract which is white and hypermature.
married now. I heard
And we are going to do a can opener capsulotomy in this patient in 2 stages. Initially a 2 mm can opener, and then we'll enlarge it to a 3.5 mm can opener, and then convert that into a CCC. So this is the right eye. We have made a temporal incision and a supranasal side port through which we are doing the initial 2 mm capsulotomy with a 26 gauge bent needle held in the left hand. So we can see the small capsulotomy being made. Now about 10 to 12 strokes have been completed, and I am enlarging into a 3 mm capsulotomy by making 2 strokes between the initial single stroke. So the second row will contain somewhere about 18 to 20 cuts. So at this point we will clean up the anterior chamber, and we'll help vent part of the raised interlenticular pressure while we are replacing the methylcellulose. Each of these patients are different, and the interplay between the intralenticular pressure, the anterior chamber depth, and the adhesive forces of the capsules are different. In this patient too, we can see how we are able to tuck quite a bit, but the capsular tags do not give way. On our third attempt, I am able to initiate a tear and complete the capsulorhexis. It seems to be heading out, So I decide to deepen the anterior chamber. This releases zonular distraction. We conventionally think of it as flattening the anterior chamber, but what we're actually doing is not reducing intralenticular pressure, rather we are reducing the outward pull by the zonules on the capsule by deepening the chamber. A micro capsulorhexis forceps would have been ideal in this situation, but I am managing with a bent needle. So we come to a safe zone and I am in a position to complete it now with the Utratas forceps. This is very simple and can be done by all anterior segment surgeons, and I find this an easier technique than a spiral or a two-stage capsulorhexis.
Never